Thank God it's quick. It's bad enough having to come here. You know. Take care now. Uh-huh. Okay. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's your boy Sammy D. We got a good morning right here. And I've got about 2 more sessions. 2 more, y'all. I'm almost done with this.
Friday.
It's Friday. Happy Friday to you now. 2 more sessions and I'm out. 2 more. Yep, see you Tuesday. I'll be ringing that bell. Take care now. Uh-huh. Boy, very good Friday today. My goodness, a lot of good people out here today. A lot of my good, oh, this guy is coming by. Is he gonna offer me some cookies? What's that? Oh, wow. Wow. Oh, wow. Cool. You made them yourself?
Yeah, my wife did.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Right home.
Thank you.
Celebratory Friday.
Beautiful Friday. Every day you come in here like this time,
Yeah.
get to see the sun come up.
Get early.
It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
It's
was it?
awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you
What's your
very
name?
much.
What's your name?
Sam.
Sam Ron.
Ron? All right, Ron. How many more sessions you got?
I'm halfway.
Okay.
Actually, Tuesday's halfway.
Ah,
So,
great.
Yeah. So
Great.
I'm kind of in the middle of
You'll walk in and, like I said, you hear me ringing that bell.
I might come early. I might come in early. You're out right now then.
Yep.
I might come in at 6:30 and hang out.
Ah, all right then.
Yeah, good.
I'll see you then. All right. It's another one of my brothers here. He just gave me a chocolate chip cookie he says he gives them to the crew on Fridays. I'll handle that a little bit later on. But anyway, it's a good Friday. Feeling good. Life is good. Good people here. This last couple of days, the treatment has been, I've been feeling in the location where the radiation is actually focused. I have been feeling a little pain. The doctor has said that I should need this cream and I should, they were telling me that I was going to have these skin lesions and outbreaks. And you know what? To be honest, I think that maybe someone with non-melanated skin might be having those problems because I haven't had any of those issues. They were telling me, oh, you're going to get this large, black area and your skin is going to do this. And I'm like, I'm black. I'm black. So I don't foresee anything coming like that. But, they were telling me they try to put this tattoo on me to mark me. I think I told you all that. I'm not even going to go through all that. Regardless, it's a good Friday. I forgot my man's name again that quick. But I got my cookies from him. The nurse coming through the reception area has been real cool. Now, if there's anybody that I would really like to give something to, it's the woman who opens up in the morning. She has been probably one of the most friendliest women and hardworking women that I know at her job. She's very, you figure if you're in a position like this every day and you're dealing with people who have cancer and some might be terminal, some just getting it and they're going through that psychological thing of, am I going to die if I'm going to do this, or should I continue this process or whatever? You have to work with them all the time. Sometimes it could be pretty daunting. And I say daunting because for those years when I worked in the prisons, you work with the people with a certain mentality. A lot of times they don't want to hear you telling them anything because they feel that they've messed up enough. They've been a hindrance to society. They've given up on life. They are locked up. They're away from their families. Their children don't look at them the same anymore, and all those different type of mentalities. Sometimes it's hard. It's very hard to talk to someone who's got that type of a mindset that I messed up. I'm not worth nothing. And it can be a real hindrance to those who are trying to come in and trying to, I'll say, influence their mentality, or as a correctional officer, try to correct some of those behaviors. I worked for about 5 years at Trader Joe's, and I don't know if you know what Trader Joe's is, or if there's one near you. Trader Joe's is a supermarket chain that's out here in California. They got them around the nation, and our objective was, when the customers come in, that they should be greeted and treated like a friend or a family. So when someone comes in and they're like, you see them, say, hey, how you doing this morning? And they say, oh, I'm doing good. You say, hey, what are you looking for? And they say, oh, I'm looking for some peaches. And then you go up and say, well, here, I'll show you where they're at. We got some new peaches in this week, or we got some new peaches in today. Have you tried them with our cottage cheese? You talk to them, and you make them feel at home, and you make them feel like it's like you're a friend. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people, my friends with my coworkers in the prisons, would really get on me, because I get off at work, and then I go right into into Trader Joe's. And man, how can you go from the prison to being the guy at Trader Joe's helping people? And you know what? I really come to find out, really, ultimately, I enjoy working with people. It's one of those things. I believe that we are here to help one another, and it's not been a thing that's been anything out of my norm to want to help and look at a person who's in need and want to help. It's been innate in me. Now, being that as I've talked earlier before many times in the last few vlogs, I may have mentioned that being raised as an abused child, there were parts of me that always wanted to make people happy. Like, I want to make my mother happy, and wanted to make my father happy. And just, when I was getting, I'll just use the word, when I was getting abused, I was always trying to go back and make them happy, because I know I did something wrong, and I want to make my mom happy. I want to make my dad happy. And sometimes you just can't do that to narcissists. They're going to take and take and take and continue to take, and you can never do things right if you're the designated scapegoat child, which I was. And I felt that I was, and I joked about me being the black sheep of my family all the time. And until, I don't know, 15 plus years ago, I decided, you know what? No, I'm not that dude. I am not the black sheep of my family. I used to jokingly go around, and when I would go to my mother's house, and she'd have some people who'd always say, oh, have you met my son? She goes, oh yeah, I know Ronald. And then they're like, no, this is Samuel. And they're like, I never met you. I never met you. And I said, oh yeah, I'm the black sheep of the family. You never hear about me. I'm the one that works in the prisons. And I used to joke with that, and I almost took pride in saying that, because I always felt that I was a lively person. I never felt that I was the negative person that was put upon me that I was. And that was a part of that made me want to prove to people that I wasn't this type of a person. And that's where the problem comes in, when that what do you call that, the adult child, as you grow up into trying to please or people please or make people happy. It was a big issue for me at one point. Now I look at it like that was a problem, and I learned this through my therapist. I learned this through some of the books that she passed on to me, and just through some of our sessions, that there are things that I would do to try to make people feel comfortable around me. Now, there goes a whole different bunch of levels of things going on when I say try to make someone feel comfortable. Being first and foremost that when you see me, I happen to be a black male in America, and a 6'3" black male in America, a 6'3", 250 pound plus black male in America. If there is not a fear in the world, that is probably one of the most feared things in this nation, at least. And trying to put someone at ease when you are a 6'3" black male, it's tough. There is a certain way you have to walk, you have to talk, you have to move, and I looked at those things and I tried to embrace those things. I tried to always be that happy guy, not that coon dancing, look at me type of guy. I met plenty of those, but I really had to learn to navigate things a certain way because of the fact that I was that 6'3" black male. And I'd walk into a room and all of a sudden people would look and you'd be like a room and with all the other white or black, or excuse me, other white individuals, or the dominant society, as I like to say, is there, and I'd have to not necessarily play a certain way, but I just had, I carried myself a certain way. And that people pleasing stuff just isn't cool. It isn't cool. I now walk very proud in who I am as a black man in America, as a black American. I feel so much more set and more proud of who I am, in particular because all the things that I went through and these experiences that made me who I am. And as I reflect on them, I never sold out. I always maintained my manhood and my dignity and my respect. And it was a big, big thing to me as I was younger, because I was, at one point, let me see, it was in the 8th, 9th grade, I hit my big growth spurt where I went from probably 5'8" to about 6'1". Man, clothes fitting up to my sleeves, you know, things I used to fit here, all of a sudden they started, you know, started rising up. Pants started flooding. You know, I was real big, awkward, gangly. You know, my body wasn't coordinated. I wasn't into sports when we were in Japan. I just started picking up basketball in the 9th grade. And it was one of those things that it got to be fun to start playing sports. And I came back from Japan in the 10th grade, and because of my size, everybody was like, hey, you play football? You play football? And I was like, I never played football before. You never played football before? Didn't understand the rules, never understood things. It was really, really a interesting time for me. So I go back to saying all of these things about images and people pleasing and things like that I went through in my life. They really were a big hindrance to me because I kept on trying to please people who really, they didn't care. They already had their images about me. They already had their thoughts about who I was upon sight. The sad thing about that is when it's from your parents, when you get that type of vitriol from your own parents and family members, that's where it's hurtful. And it really took me more the last few years to realize that that's what was going on in my family situation. That I come in and I'm all happy, and I generally am a happy guy. But when you realize that it's your family that's actually the ones that are talking the negative things about you and saying negative things about you and pushing the negativity of who you are, and this is the type of person that you are. And I'm going to give you an example, if I haven't did this already during this video vlogging sessions that I've been doing. My wife, current wife, when we first met, I brought her home bring her to my mother, to introduce her to my mother. And we're having dinner sometime, and we're at one time, and as we're having dinner, my mother goes up and she leaves, she comes back and she brings out my 9th grade report card. She slides it across the table to my wife, and she goes, look at this report card. This is Sammy's report card. Look at his report card. Now, in the 9th grade, as I mentioned to you before, it was a very, very rough time for me when I was growing up in Japan with a racist teacher who was doing all kinds of stuff. Man, I'll get on that another time. But I had horrible grades. I did. I admit it. I couldn't stay focused. There was a lot of things going on, but she slid this to my wife, and as if to show her, this is who Samuel is. Look at this. Look at these grades here. Look at these grades here. And what was really bad about it was she had wrote in felt tip pen, horrible grades, horrible attitude, things like that. And it was in her handwriting, in red ink, in a red felt tip pen, and it was fresh. It was not like it was, and she tried to say, this is what the teacher wrote. Now I'm sitting back here and I'm looking at this report card from 20 plus years ago, and I'm looking at it with